Welcome back to another episode of Quintessential Mark Radio, the New Age Recovery Chronicles, as I will be time-stamping this particular recording at January 1st, 2022. And the purpose of this recording, this broadcast, is to relay what I am doing today on the 1st, which is taking a break and heading out to Prescott, Arizona. Which is northern Arizona, about, I'd say about 2 hours away from Phoenix, heading north. And I just wanted to get away, and also give myself the opportunity to reminisce and review the past year. I would have to say from just the previous broadcast, from the first 6 episodes, I had covered what was actually going on in my head from the past, I'd have to say 8 months, and I say 8 months because on April, the very first week of April during Passover of 2021, I was saved. Okay. And if you would like to call it born again, well, yes, I was born again. I asked God to reveal himself to me in truth and in knowing. And what was revealed to me for the most part was that, this New Age deception must be exposed. And it is the lie. And when I was producing New Age podcast just under a year ago, I didn't feel right about it. Okay, and I don't want to get into too much detail as to what that is all about, because I did cover that from a previous broadcast. And from that alone, I decided to shut it down. And so here we are, from April to now, the 1st of January. I had sold my house. I had sold everything. I essentially dropped all of these broadcasts, these New Age podcasts that I was producing. And since then, I have been writing prolifically within my blog at www.walkawayfromthenewage.com. And I got to tell you, ever since then, from April of that first week, I have just been writing prolifically, religiously about biblical scripture and the revelations that have been provided to me as far as it relates to exposing the New Age deception. And so I headed out to Prescott, Arizona, just to get away and to experience how it all began for me. In many ways, it's kind of like the origin story of how this shift had occurred. When I flew out to Arizona earlier last year, the intention was to purchase a piece of property in northern Arizona, and it was on top of a mountain and 2 acres, and my intention was to build a tiny house, a tiny home. And I got to tell you, from atop that mountain, it is so very clear, maybe because of the minimal amount of lighting from the city below, and it just exposed the skies, and then how the beauty of the desert seems to emanate during the night skies. And so I purchased the property, okay? And from amidst purchasing that property during that weekend, I did head out to Prescott, which is about an hour or so away from this property. And I managed to befriend this couple who were also transplants from Boston from many, many years. I would have to say 30 some odd years. And they had been living in Prescott ever since. And, in our conversation, they managed to treat me with some dinner. Also to treat me with a lot of the wisdom that they had accrued from their experiences there in Prescott. And from that, I wasn't quite sold, but I managed to leave that conversation very enlightened to their knowledge and wisdom and just the warmth that came out of them. And ever since that conversation, it was a seed that was implanted within my mind, soul, and within my heart, and it grew. And so I am here today in Prescott, Arizona, on the 1st of January, 2022, to remember and reminisce about that time and to celebrate the very essence of how it became to be from April of 2021 to now, January 1st, 2022. And so just to tell you a little bit of a history of Prescott. Prescott was founded back in 1864 as the territorial capital of Arizona. The name Prescott was chosen in honor of William Hickling Prescott, author of the History of the Conquest of Mexico. Now, the Arizona Miner reported that the name was accepted because Prescott was a good citizen, a true patriot with industry, perseverance, under difficulty. And this is the origin story of this very city in northern Arizona. And so at the same time, Prescott was established as the territorial capital. It was also designated as the county seat of Yavapai County, one of 4 original territorial counties, although the capital moved to Tucson from 1867 to 1877, and the capital returned to Prescott at the end of 1877, and remained so until it was moved permanently to Phoenix in 1889. So that is a little history of Prescott in itself. Yes, Whiskey Row is actually located within the downtown premises of Prescott. And one of the most historic saloons located on Whiskey Row is the Palace. The Palace was established, or actually opened, back in 1877 and then rebuilt in 1901 after a very disastrous fire which swept through the district in 1900. It is considered as one of the most historic bars within the state. And so this is where I had met this transplant couple from Boston. Now, the Palace is still the oldest frontier saloon in Arizona and one of the most well-renowned and historic restaurants to date within the state of Arizona, within the big AZ. Now, it would be just a fail to neglect to state that one of the most prolific and dedicated patrons of the Palace on Whiskey Row would be within the late 1870s, where Wyatt Earp, Virgil Earp, and Doc Holliday were among its well-renowned dedicated patrons of the Palace. And during this time period was when Wyatt and his brother Morgan visited Virgil and Prescott before they left for the infamous and legendary meeting of sorts at the gunfight at Tombstone, and where then Doc Holliday, who was during this period before the gunfight at the OK Corral, was when Doc Holliday was on a winning streak on Whiskey Row at the Palace, where he won over $10,000 just playing poker. And this is when he joined the Earps 8 months later at the gunfight at the OK Corral at Tombstone. And this gunfight lasted about 30 seconds, and it occurred at 3 p.m. Wednesday, October 26, 1881, where it was a shootout between lawman Wyatt Earp, Virgil Earp, and deputized Doc Holliday against members of a loosely organized group of outlaws called the Cowboys. And so with Prescott, that was the original place where I wanted to land a job in one of the hospital systems up there. And I applied on several positions, and I also had gotten rejected from several positions after several interviews that I had landed, but wasn't successful in actually landing an actual job. No job offers were handed out, but there was a suggestion from one of my friends to kind of make a shift into the location of for which I would desire to land a job. And so he made a suggestion to Phoenix, Arizona. I had found a job, online, in southern Arizona, in Phoenix. I applied for it. I was offered an interview, and after the interview, I was offered the job position in Phoenix. And that was around the arena of July, August of last year. And now I am here today in the big AZ in Phoenix in the West Valley. And I have got to say, I am so grateful to God. I am so grateful to the many people who have helped me to transition here. Once more, thankful to my wonderful parents. And the message that was brought to me as I prayed for, not only for the network here at R3 TV with our Christian broadcasting, news broadcasting network, but there was also a message to me from God, in the form of knowing, in which I had to change Quantum Mindfulness Radio 2.0, this podcast, this talk show, to a new name, a new rebrand, to rebrand that former talk show into a new higher level of being, but this time around honored by the blood of Christ. And I was led to change or rebrand the former talk show from Quantum Mindfulness Radio 2.0 to Quintessential Mark Radio 2.0, the New Age Recovery Chronicles. And so it is actually fitting, to tell you the truth, really, really fitting, because again, just like how I wasn't too comfortable with producing these podcasts from the previous brand for R3 TV, the same held true for my current broadcast, my current talk show with its previous name, its previous brand with Quantum Mindfulness Radio 2.0. It still held too much of that new age feel and energy to it. And so why not completely detach from the hook, from the demonic realms of which has plagued many people throughout the world in mass populations from the millions to billions. And what better way to do so, to detach from that hook, than to change the name outright, but to still have the flavor of the rebrand of QMR 2.0. And that's when I was given the gift to change the name from Quantum Mindfulness Radio 2.0 to Quintessential Mark Radio 2.0. And essentially, in many ways, it's freeing for the most part. It just feels right. It feels as if, or it is blessed by the blood of Christ. And so, with that said, I thank you so much, dear listeners, for following me and for supporting our network. Please, by all means, please help support our YouTube channel. And you can find us at www.realrevolutionradiotv.com. If you would like to chime into our official website for the network at R3TV, you can chime into that at www.r3television.com. Once more, that's www.r3television.com. And with that said, thank you so much, dear listeners, for tuning in. We'll see you next time on QMR 2.0. God bless.